Here we are. This is lesson 5 of time-lapse drawing a Jaguar C-Type, and what I'm doing is I'm starting to fill in on the rear of the right-hand side. Again, this is the part that I really don't care too much about. I don't really have to have people looking at it too closely, so all I'm going to do is just make it sort of an indistinct color. That is to say, it's going to be an intermediate value. It's still going to be gray, of course, produced by black dots. But this part I don't care so much about, but it's essential that I get it right so that the car looks believable, that it could have that shadow in it. So I'm not doing anything to try and draw any attention to it. I just want it to hang there in the air and look okay. What I'm really going to do is put all my efforts into making the front of the car and the right front wheel and grille and headlights and all that really pop out at the viewer. So the back end is not very important, and I'm not going to give it a whole bunch of weight in terms of how much time or importance I attach to it. So you can see here I'm just going over it. There are subtle shadings in it. It's very dark right over the wheel well, and then not quite so dark up above. And then finally, there's the air of just getting a light highlight more or less on the outside of it. And so I'm following along with that. I haven't done the rear wheel yet, and I'll probably save that for very nearly the last because I want to do one against the other. But now I'm moving ahead on the door, and it's going to be a similar value too to the upper section of the rear fender. Okay, coming along fine so far. The door at the very bottom where the rocker panel is very dark. This is kind of an intermediate value again in the middle, but it'll probably be darkened up more when we do our final once over. But I just want to make sure that I get it darkened in a little bit so that I can use it to figure out where all the other values are. I may still take the really dark value on the car and make it considerably darker, so this may end up being too light by a major factor, but we'll see. And what I'm trying to do now is there's a number dot on the side, and what I want to do with it is to give it some contrast. I'm going to leave it white for now, and then that will let me see how it's going to look when I do the final run through. I want to have different values next to one another, very dark and very light right next to each other, because that's going to give me the most drama, and that white number dot is going to be used just for that purpose. Okay, coming down toward the rocker panel now. Still going okay so far. And I know that lower rocker is going to be a lot darker than this too, because it virtually disappears into the shadow on the photograph that I have. So it's going to give me the opportunity to use that black right next to the white. So that'll be very, very good. That number dot will really help me tell the story of this car and the color of one part to another. So it's very important to me that I get that right. Okay, moving a little bit further forward now. And there we go. Okay, we're working on the area underneath where the front hood tips forward. And this is going to be pretty dark again too. I know it's going to be darkened, but for right now it's just, we're doing this for the purpose of getting it a little darker so we can measure one against the other. But when I darken the lower rocker panel and the apron that's underneath the grille and next to the grille, then everything else is going to have to be darkened in order to match it and make it look okay. So this is just the beginnings of the darkening process, and I'm working on it pretty hard right now. But it's going along okay. This is going to be a really pretty car. It's just so smooth in the front end. It really is one of my very favorite cars of all time. And the fact that it was made in the 50s makes it even more so. It's just so clean and so smooth. Jaguars also always have said that they're kind of shaped like an animal, like a cat, and this definitely shows it. All the smoothness and roundness of all the fenders and everything else makes it really look subtle and sexy at the same time. It just looks so good. Looks like it goes through the wind without even touching it. Okay, there we see we are darkening quite a bit down the bottom. And I'm going to do the same thing around the front too. But next I'm going to do some more on the hood, and then by the time I get done with that, we'll start to be able to seriously darken this car up. But I have to have some values that are low too, and that's what we're trying to come up with now. Okay, we're just about done for today, and I hope to see you back here tomorrow. We'll do quite a bit more on the body. Thank you. Bye.